Hello guys, welcome back to an episode review of Hollyoaks for today, Wednesday, 2nd of July 2025. Steve was deep cleaning the couch after Dylan's ordeal by sleeping with his ex, which I quite liked and found a bit of comedic in that Steve was cleaning the couch. Dylan has no excuse, the fact that he slept with his ex. I'm surprised that Steve and Lucas keep welcoming him back and giving him a lot of chances. We know Dylan's been through a lot, and it makes sense why, not even though it's not an excuse, but it makes sense why he did what he did, because obviously it was very random in yesterday's episode when he slept with his ex. He's basically kept a copy of the document that Frankie and Vicky and everyone chucked away or, discarded in Jez's shredding machine or something to do with the allotments. But Dylan's found out he's the one that's responsible for Banks' death because it was his bullet that reached Banks. That's quite a lot to live with now because he should have, even though it's not wrong, they should have all gone to the police at this stage when it happened. But now, he should have just listened to the other two. Dylan has now told Steve that how they're all involved in Banks' death. So he's basically landed Vicky and Frankie right in it as well as himself. I don't think Steve will exactly grass Dylan up because he's got loyalty to his son, Lucas, and it's Lucas adores Dylan more than anyone else, including his own father. We'll get to the stage where Lucas punched Steve at the end, which is wrong on so many levels. But I think we all saw that coming anyway. But the fact that Dylan has now put Frankie and Vicky into a further mess, it's difficult now. And also Frankie, on the other hand, she's kind of having, without knowing, so we can't really blame her, without knowing, she's getting Jacob involved in her life, and now Jacob is going to be another threat to the trio's security or sense of freedom. Tough times. I wish they all had a break. They've had a lot. I would have wanted to see as a viewer all three of them having a bit of break. They don't have to go to work. If they wanted some mundane kind of feeling, they can go to work part-time. It would have been nice, but the fact that they're having to go through more drama and chaos, especially Frankie, ever since JJ, she's never had a break. And now, the fact that she's been groomed and now she's going through all that through again, maybe potentially again with Jacob, because don't forget, Jacob's saving his own skin and his mum as well, so he's having to do what he needs to do for himself, as most people would anyway. I just wish him and Frankie had more of a friendship in the past, so it would have been very difficult for him to achieve that. And I kind of wish that he maybe told Frankie what exactly is going on. And she's quite good at keeping secrets, because obviously the fact that she kept all of this from Darren and Nancy. So if anything, Jacob, if he was to trust someone, it would probably be Frankie, maybe Vicky. I'm not too sure actually about Vicky or Dylan. But regardless, he could have trusted Frankie with this, and Frankie would have done something. If Frankie requested to Dylan and Vicky to help Jacob, they would have done. Especially if Vicky's got a dad as a detective. Anyway, that's and the fact that Robbie was just in the allotment shed, Jez's shed, being hostage again. I feel like I'm growing tired. The fact that Robbie's just being hostage for, first Grace, now Jez, all for no reason as well. And the fact that Lexi's life is being uprooted and she's going to South Africa with her nan to live there. Darren and Nancy are taking her there, so they're going to have a bit of a holiday themselves. Speaking of Darren, he was basically went to the pub with Tony, or they went out together because Tony had to tell his whole ordeal and how he regrets sleeping with Mercedes to Darren. Darren obviously wants to lend a leaning ear to his friend Tony, but also at the same time, Darren wants to escape house chores. Nancy set up him with the task to basically pack everything before she comes back home. When Nancy arrived, she saw nothing packed, and also as Pearl has told Darren to pack everything. Darren was actually quite rude with Pearl, even though Pearl's she's been quite a strong pillar of that family, I think, the Osborns, and I thought Pearl and Jack were really great. And when Pearl tried to say, that Jacob's been through the same thing as Frankie them lot, which is very true. But yes, in this case, we know that Jacob is not to be trusted because he's using Frankie. But Pearl's intentions was good there, and I think Darren lashed out. He goes, with all due respect, please stay out of that one, which I thought was very rude. So Pearl had the right to react like she did, and she just stormed off upstairs, I think. What I found really confusing is why that was enough for her and Jack to break up. Are there any more? Because obviously, as far as up until now, we thought that their relationship was really good. So it doesn't really make sense why Pearl... It seems a bit out of character, if I'm honest. So I don't know what the writers are doing there. Because the fact that they just, made her and Jack break up, say that enough, she doesn't want to do this anymore or something, doesn't make sense at all. They look happy. They are happy. I feel like there's just some kind of maybe more drama to be made there unnecessarily. I'm not sure. I'm speaking from a writing point of view. Again, Pearl and Jack were great together. Bring them back. I think you're not gonna get any kind of good TV out of that, to be honest. Towards the end of the episode, Lucas came back to the flat in a bit of a rage because he's just angry where his relationship is going, and the fact that Dylan's texted him and kind of said that Lucas deserves better than him. So Lucas took that as obviously Dylan no longer sees a future in the relationship. And then he was talking to Steve and he saw a visiting order, so he knows that Steve was visiting Rex, which made Lucas started hitting himself and hitting his head, and Steve tried to stop him, and Steve goes, look, just hit me instead. And rather than ignoring Steve's useless comment, Lucas gladly punched him across the face, and quite hard as well. And look, we saw this come before, especially when the first day Lucas was back from hospital and he just punched Steve in the stomach. And I feel like it's not the end there. I think it's a long road for Steve and Lucas now. I'm not saying Lucas is ungrateful, but Steve's been doing a lot for Lucas, and he's been very accommodating Lucas. Everything Steve was doing was for the best for Lucas, I believe. I think Lucas is having a hard time understanding that, but he also feels like Steve's not respecting his decisions as a young adult, which Lucas is now. Again, I do think Steve and Lucas, they need some time apart. If they keep continuously living together every single day, then this domestic violence is just going to happen more and more between the two now. And I think one thing I have noticed is that Lucas seems to be only hitting Steve when no one else is around. So he hasn't hit Steve when Dylan was here. So, and these things often happen with domestic violence behind closed doors when no one else is there, and the dispute between two individuals of the family or the relationship or the partners or the whatever you want to say. That's when it occurs, when no one else is around. Jacob and Frankie, they share a kiss, and it looks like Jacob is, I can't really tell whether he's actually beginning to like Frankie, or the fact that his plan's working. Let me know what you thought, guys, and I'll see you in next Monday's episode. Peace.